So, reflexive verbs in Spanish. What are they? Well, to recognise them, they are verbs in which you do something to yourself. For example, in this case, I wash myself. I know we wouldn't necessarily say the word myself in English, but that's what it literally means. Or I wake myself up. One thing to note here is if you wash something else rather than yourself, that wouldn't be reflexive because you're not doing it yourself. For example, I wash my car. So, how do we know whether we found a reflexive verb? Well, the word that we find in the dictionary, the verb that we find in the dictionary, generally has a se on the end. So if you take the se off of this verb, levantarse, you can see that it still ends in the ar, and some end in er or ir. Depending on which verb you've got, you change it as you need to. So how do you form? It's really, really easy. I don't laugh at this, but lots of my students still remember how to do this. What you do is take the se off the end and you put it in your pocket. Why do you do that? Because you know you've got to use it later on. And then you treat your verb like any ar, er, or ir verb in the tense that you need. Some reflexives are radical changing, so you may need to have a look at the radical changing video for this, but generally they follow the normal rules. So, levantarse is our verb, to get up. Take the se off and put it in our pocket. We're left with an ar verb. Okay? Right, so what do we do then? After that, we've got to take that se out of our pocket and put it before the first verb. Now we say the first verb because some verbs are, some tenses, like the perfect tense, have two verbs. So you put it before the first verb, generally. So what are the pronouns? So we take the se out of our pocket, put it at the beginning, and if it's the person I that we're doing, we change it to me. If it's you, we change it to te. If it's you, he, she, or it, it stays the same as se. If it's we, it goes to nos. If it's you, plural, it goes to os. And if it's they, it goes to se. Okay, so you've taken it out of your pocket, put it before the first verb, and then you change it to the person you need. Once you've changed the verb, obviously, to the tense you need. So, an example. Levantarse, to get oneself up. This tells us it's reflexive, and we also know because it's got a se on the end. So, remove the se, put it in our pocket. Okay, giving us a levantar. Changes the right tense for the correct person. Here the I form in the present tense. So it becomes me levanto. So AR comes off and O goes on the end because we know in the present tense all I forms in the present tense, whether it's AR, E or IR, ends in O. Now we take the se out of our pocket and put it before the first one. Now because we're using levanto, we know it's in the I form, we need to put, can you remember? Se levanto, right? No, of course it's not right. It should be me levanto. That's right. I get myself up. Good. Okay, so now your turn. Let's take lavarse, to wash oneself. We need to change this into the we form, so I want to say we wash ourselves. Again, we don't say the ourselves in English, but that's what we mean because we're not washing something, we're washing ourselves. So lavarse is a verb to wash oneself. We know it's reflexive again because it's got the se on the end. So we do what? That's right, we take the se off and put it in our pocket, and we're left with lavar, the AR verb. Now, this is a present tense, we say we'll wash ourselves, so we take the AR off and add amos, because that's the AR we ending, and we've still got that se in our pocket, so we still need to do something. So what do we do with it? We do what? We put it, that's right, at the beginning of the verb. The first verb in this case is lavamos, could be other verbs in other tenses. Is it se lavamos? No, of course it isn't. It should be nos lavamos. Yeah, we wash ourselves. Good. Okay. So let's do some practice. Change the following verbs into the present tense. So this one's present tense for those people who are just getting used to this. The next page will let you have some practice in other tenses. So we have casarse, to get married. Again, all of these got se on the end. Separarse, to separate. Llevarse bien con, good one to learn because it's an idiom. And the verb is here, so we take the se off and we're left with levar. Parecerse, to look like. Divorciarse, to get divorced. And acostarse. Now, acostarse again is radical changing, not where we're going to use it here, but you might want to have a little look at it in another video. O changes to UE. So we need to change all of these 6 here into the right forms. So if you want to pause the video here, and then you can do the practice, and then we'll go over the answers. Okay, so the first one should be nos acostamos tarde. Again, if you've got the wrong end bit wrong, doesn't matter, as long as you've got the reflexive, you understanding how the reflexive works. She gets on well with her sister. Se lleva bien con su hermana. 3, they are getting divorced. Se divorcian. Now remember, in the present tense, you can use the present tense for they divorce, or they are divorcing, or they're getting divorced. All of those this would mean. Me separo de mi pareja. I'm separated from my partner. Se parece a su padre. Remember, when you have a verb plus a person, we need to put that little personal a between the two. But if you haven't done that, don't worry about it, as long as you've got their se parece, right? And the last one, nos casamos, we're getting married. Okay, and the practice in tenses. So again, we've got the same verbs again. I've added levantarse, so we've got a little bit of variety. Now have a look at the tenses here. Make sure you're using the right tense notes to change it to the right form. Again, pause it here so you can have a practice on your own. So, here are the answers. They went to bed late. Se acostaron tarde, in the they form, and the preterite, this one. She got married last week. Se casó, preterite tense, la semana pasada. Again, take note, la semana is feminine. Pasada also needs to be feminine. They're going to get divorced. This is the near future tense, so van a divorciarse. Se. Now this one, because you're using the infinitive, and again this is for advanced Spanish students, you just leave the se on the end. Okay, so instead of taking it out of your pocket and putting it at the beginning, you leave it on the end of an infinitive when you use it in infinitive form. If it was the I form, we'd put me on the end. There is another place you can put it. You could put it at the beginning, so it could be se van a divorciar. Either way is correct, so you choose which way you think is easiest. If you're happy with the rule that you take it out of your pocket and put it at the beginning before the first verb, then do that. If not, and you want to impress the examiner a bit more, then you can put it on the end of the infinitive. I will separate from him soon. Pronto me separaré de él. Okay, so we've got the future tense ending on the end here. Pronto could go here or at the end, doesn't matter. Again, doesn't matter if you've got the rest right, as long as you've got the reflexive one. I used to get on well with my mum. In perfect tense, me llevaba bien con mi madre. They will get up early. Simple future, se acostarán temprano. We separated last year. Nos separamos el año pasado. And I'm going to get on well with my teacher. Again, near future. No voy a llevarme. Can you see what I was saying about here? You've got the infinitive. You put the me on the end of it. You could put it at the beginning here if you wanted to. Bien con el profesor. Okay. You want some more practice, or you just want to go through the notes, just rewind the video.